You asked for it, you got it. Toyota? No, Cleveland. The Cavs had a healthy lead heading into the fourth quarter of Game 82 versus Charlotte, but JB Bickerstaff cleared the bench. They leaned into the L. Now, they didn't want to have the number 2 seed. Oh, man, that might mean having to take on the Sixers of Heat. So maybe a little gamesmanship there to set up this series with Orlando. Cleveland and Orlando, they split their season series 2-2. They both won once on each other's court. It's been a minute since they played, though. So here we go, 4-5. What's one thing you're watching for, Tass? Cleveland-Orlando series.
This is a fun one because there are many things to look at here, but my first look is big picture, and that's Donovan Mitchell to me because, look, beginning of the season he was incredible. Most of the season. An all-NBA player. He was so good. They were 36-17 going into the All-Star break, and after the All-Star break, they went 12-17. It is strange. It's really 2 iterations of this team. And since the All-Star break, Donovan Mitchell has not been himself. He only played in 11 of those 29 games because of a knee and a nose. So who is this guy? How good is he? Is he going to go back to his old self? And he did have a couple good games to end the season. He averaged 31 in those 2 games. So the Cavs can be optimistic. He did sit the final day, so like a lot of guys, they set that final day just so the Cavs could be in this spot. So is he ready? Because when he came to Cleveland, he came off a bad playoff round with the Utah Jazz and then had a terrible round last year against the New York Knicks. He was not himself. But prior to that, he was a monster. So I think these 2 consecutive playoffs where he hasn't been himself, he's got something to play for here. Jalen Suggs is going to be guarding him. It's going to be fun when he takes that floor. But I think he's got a lot to play for, and hopefully he's healthy enough. And he used to look like he was awesome in those years with the Jazz where he was so good. So that's what I'm watching. Mitchell versus Suggs, who is a very, very good defender.
Could see some Jonathan Isaac, I guess, thrown on him as well. Put some length on him. How many minutes we'll see from Isaac. Played a ton in that last game for Orlando. What are you watching for here, TK?
Yeah. Which Mitchell we're getting, I think, is a huge question for Cleveland. I'm excited to see Paolo Banchero playing in his first postseason here. But I think the big thing to watch is the possession game, and I think Orlando absolutely has to win it. That comes down to offensive rebounding. We saw how great the Knicks were against Cleveland last year. Orlando is a good offensive rebounding team. They're 7th in offensive rebound rate this season, but the Cavs are 7th in defensive rebound rate this season. We'll see how that plays out. More importantly, though, I think is Orlando needs to force turnovers, and they need to take care of the ball. Orlando's the best in the league at forcing turnovers, and Cleveland turns the ball over a fair amount, but Orlando can get a little loose with it too. So I think that Orlando needs to take care of the ball when they're on offense, and they need to force turnovers, get out and run against Cleveland, because Cleveland has a really great defense, especially in the half court. So I think an easy way for the Magic to generate offense is playing as fast as they possibly can, because when Cleveland's set up, it's going to be an absolute struggle for Orlando.
Yeah, unless they've got Franz Wagner finally finds his 3-point shot and stuff like that. Not a lot of shooting from the perimeter. And then the flip side of that was when the Cavs were rolling. That was when they had a bunch of shooters out there, and they were letting it fly and hitting a ton of them. Who's an X factor in this 4-5 matchup?
I went pretty generic here because watching the Cavs last year when they went against New York was horrible. They just weren't themselves. It's sort of like the rebounding thing, which is a grit, determination type of thing. They're both good rebounding teams, as you said. The Cavs are a great defensive rebounding team. They don't allow second chance points, but the Magic can if they want, because they're a good offensive rebounding team. So this is more of a fight issue to me. Which team are we going to see from the Cleveland Cavaliers? Because like Jared Allen said last year about playing the Knicks, the lights were a little too bright. This team just wasn't themselves. They didn't have it last year, so who are they going to be? Now they picked this team. They picked the Orlando Magic to play.
Basically, yeah.
And so that could be some bulletin board for the Magic for sure. The Cavs also have the experience against this Orlando Magic team. I know it sounds weird to think about, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and Darius Garland as experienced guys, but they were there last year, and Donovan Mitchell has been there for a long time. And, they brought some oldies in there, like guys who have experience in Max Strus, a little, George Niang. They have a bunch of those guys, but the Magic have size, as we talked about. Like, they have monsters. So if they don't feel like rebounding defensively, Magic are going to kill them. They have monsters on this team, and Wendell Carter, Banchero, 2 Wagners, Agoga, and Jonathan Isaac. They
just keep coming.
Yeah.
Waves of big guys.
That's 6 guys that are 6'10" or bigger. So Are you going to be trying? Are you going to be trying to be the team that you can be? And they were for a long time. Are they going to have that groove back? They asked for this, so it'll be fun.
Do you have an X factor from either team?
Got to get a body on Mo Wagner. That guy's crazy on the offensive boards. But for me, the X factor is Cole Anthony. Orlando's 6-4 when he scores 20 or more points. That's not that many. That's not that often. But they're also 13-5 when he has 5 or more assists. Needs some backcourt production.
Yeah.
I do believe Orlando does. So that's got to be Suggs forcing turnovers, hitting threes, doing what he can defensively against Mitchell and Garland. And then Cole Anthony, I think, needs just to have a heater of a series here for the Orlando Magic to be able to score enough to keep up with Cleveland. Because unfortunately, I think this was a solid tank job by the Cavs. I think they made the right choice here.
You think so?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to smash this one.
Okay,
Ooh.
interesting. Well, let's get to predictions then. Why wait? Why don't you get us started? You're leaning towards the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm leaning towards the Cleveland Cavaliers. They haven't been inspiring during the second half of the season. Orlando has definitely looked a lot better, but these two teams are very similar to each other, and definitely the Cavs have more experience and definitely more offensive firepower as well. So I think Orlando needs to limit Cleveland's three-pointers because Cleveland shoots them and Orlando doesn't. So Orlando kind of has to make it back at the free throw line, which they're pretty good at. They're good at drawing fouls with Franz and Paolo especially, but I think that this is going to be a rude awakening for the Magic. I will take the Cavs in, I'm going to say 6. I want to go 5, but I think it's going to be Cavs in 6 because they're weird, man.
When you say in 5, it sounds more like a smash job.
Feels like a smash job.
6 feels like, okay, it's a series, but you're leaning, of course, to the one team. Okay, so Cavs in 6. Where are you going?
As Trey said there at the end, the Cavs are a weird team. They sometimes perform like they did when they were rolling, but sometimes I'm not sure about them. Mm-hmm. I do think their bigs play the series of their careers, both Mobley and Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell, whoever it's Jalen Suggs or Jonathan Isaac. He'll be able to overcome it because it's been a long time coming for him to have a good series like he did in 21 and when he was in the bubble, and then 20 in the bubble, and then 21 the year after that. He was awesome. So I just buy them. Is it a smashy 5? I'll do it. I think that, they bought all in for this. So hopefully it all comes to fruition here for them because, last year was really bad. That was one of the most horrific series to watch.
They got smashed, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In 5.
Yeah,
the Knicks beat the Cavs.
Tibbs just put everybody on Donovan Mitchell out by the three-point line to double him, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't solve anything. They looked like the play-in game there with the 76ers not knowing what to do with the zone. I got 5. Give me 5.
For the Cavs?
Yeah, why not?
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going repeat of last year. I got Magic winning game 1, just like the Knicks did. You went through it, TK. They're very similar in ways to what Tibbs and the Knicks did, in theory, to them last year. They could replicate that. They have an identity. I loved what I saw over the last little stretch there from the Magic. And anytime I tuned in to watch them game, I at least loved like the joy, the little energy that they were playing with, where the Cavs, I mean... Yeah, what was it? 12-17 down the stretch here. They're the opposite of that. I'm leaning towards the Magic. This is going to be some ugly games, I assume. This is why it's going to be on NBA TV. But I think the Magic are going to come out victorious. I'm very excited about Paolo's first postseason here. I think there'll be some rough games in there, but there's going to be some gems as well. I'm going Magic in 6. So I'm going to swerve against you guys in this one, which is always nice to have a few of us on opposite sides. So I'm going Orlando to replicate what the Knicks did to Cleveland last year. And then here we go with the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors. Fire them up, baby.